Hi, I'm Betsy Kasdan. I live in Providence, and I'm going to talk about the Quaker Meeting House in Little Compton. The building that you see was built in 1815, but there was a previous meeting house on that site that we think was built in 1704, and parts of it are incorporated into the current building. The Historical Society already had a very good architectural history of the building that was done when they renovated it back to the 1815 appearance. So I used that because that's not my expertise. I'm a historian of Quakerism in this area, and what interested me was the people, the community, how did they worship, and how did things change over basically 200 years of Quaker presence in Little Compton. So I dug into the Quaker records to try and see what I could find, and it turned out to be interesting and more complicated than I had anticipated. Partly because the records, they didn't talk a lot about Little Compton specifically, and partly because Quakerism, particularly in the 1800s, is complicated. People are leaving for the Hudson Valley and further west. They're moving to Fall River, New Bedford, and Providence for jobs. And I was able to pin a lot of that down. And then there was a big split in the New England Quaker community in 1845, basically over theology and worship style. And John Wilbur of Hopkinton, who is a cousin of the Little Compton Wilburs, was a key part of that split. So I spent quite a lot of time in the records trying to figure out what happened in Little Compton during that split, and the answer was, it's really complicated. The last Quaker, he's known as the last Quaker, Edward Howland, worshiped by himself at the end of his life, the last maybe 10 years of his life. He would go every Sunday and worship, and that was the lore that came down. It turned out he had been disowned by both of the different groups, like in the 1890s. So it turned out to be a complex story. I'm not sure I have all the answers, but I felt I was able to fill in a lot of that detail. To hear more of the detail, come to the house tour on September 17th. I will be at the meeting house, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions people have about Quakers or Quakers in Little Compton. I'll do my best.